Hi, in this video we will be talking about measures of central tendency. Okay, so central tendency means the middle section of your data. Okay, and when we talk about central tendency, we are talking about these three items here: mode, mean, and median. We actually learned about them in our previous math classes when we were young, right? But today we'll be dealing with them in more depth. Okay. Now, let's start with mode. Okay, so mode is very straightforward. Whichever occurs the most frequently, that would be the mode. And sometimes we can have more than one mode or no mode. Okay, just keep that in mind. We can have no mode, or we can have more than one mode. So this is example 4 from the textbook. Okay, so let's look at A first. So for A, we have go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the respective frequency. So if they want us to find the mode, we are looking at the one that happened the most, which in this case will be 7. Right? So 7 is the highest frequency, which means one goal is the mode. Okay, make sure that you do not put down the 7 as the answer, but 7 is only the frequency, and 7 is the highest, so the mode is 1. Okay? Okay, let's look at part B. For part B, we have categories. We have different categories and their respective frequencies. And the same thing, our highest frequency is 7, so the category of 15 to 20, that is my mode. Okay? Now, to show you guys sometimes we could have more than one mode or no mode, I'm going to do something with example B. So let's say today I do not have, I only have 4 categories, okay, and we are asked to find the mode. Now in this case, I have 6 and a 6. So those 2 categories would be the mode. In this case, we have 2 modes. Okay, we can have 2 modes. All right. Now let's talk about mean. When we talk about mean, another name for mean would be average. They are pretty much the same, right? And let's just look at an example for now. So this is example 5. If we are asked to find the mean of 89, 73, 84, 91, 87, 77, 94. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the sum of the data, right? We're going to add them up, divided by the number of data. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to add up all the values, add them up, divided by 7, and I use my calculator, I get 85. All right. For B, same thing. So I'm going to add 2, 3, 3, 4, 6, 7. I'm going to add all of them, and then divide it by, I have 6 data here, so 6, which gives me 4.16, repeating. Okay? So that's pretty easy, pretty simple. This is the mean that we have learned from our previous math classes. Now, let's look at mean in a harder example, right? So let's do the first one. This is example 6 from the textbook. Let's do A first. So we have 4 different grades, and then their respective frequencies. So, which means for example, if I have 0, I have 11 as the frequency. That means 0, 0, 0, 0. So I can find a total of 11 zeros, right? And then I can find total of 10 ones, 19 twos, and 10 threes. So I could list them all out and then add them one by one, or I can just do this. So the sum would be 0 times 11 plus 1 times 10 plus 20 times 19 plus 3 times 10. this will give me the sum of all the data, which is 78. And if I add the frequencies, I will, with my calculator, I have a total of 50 samples, right? So if I want to find my mean, I can just take 78, divide that by 50, which gives me 1.56. Okay. Now, that was a little bit time consuming. Time consuming. We need to know how to use our TI-84 with GDC to find the mean. So let's do that. So please pause the video and get your TI-84 out and just follow along. So now my TI-84 is on the right. I'm going to go to Stat. Okay. And then I'm going to go to Edit. So Edit. So my L1 would be my different grade levels. So I'm going to say 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And my L2 would be my frequencies. So that would be 11, 11, 10, 19, and 10. Alright, that's it. So you do have to kind of remember that L2 is your frequency. Okay, your L2 is your frequency, your L1 is your grade level. Now, I'm trying to use my GDC to find the mean without doing all this work. So what you have to do now is go to Stat. Alright, go to your Stat and go to your Calc. And remember in the previous video, in this chapter, we are talking about univariate analysis, which means there's only one variable. So I'm going to go to 1. So my list would be my grade level, which is L1, that's correct. My frequency list would be my L2, so that's correct. So my L1 is good, L2 is good, and then just click on calculate. There you go. My mean is what my mean. We did that manually just now, which was 1.56, which is the first entry we have here. This represents my mean. Okay. So it's like a small lowercase x with a bar on the top. That's my mean. And also that you can see that we have total of 50, right? My n represents 50. That means that I have a total of 50 samples. You see this? MED is equal to 2. What do you think that is, right? What do you think that is? Well, we'll talk about that later. That is actually that's actually our median. Okay, we'll come back to that later. But for now, to find the mean, there you go. Okay? Now let's look at the second example. This is B. This is B. In this case, unlike previously where we just have one grade level, we have this range, right? A range of like a category kind of, right? So if you come across examples like this, first thing you need to do is to calculate how many samples in total. So 4 plus 8 plus 5 plus 3, that gives us 20. And then we are going to add another column to our table, which is the midpoint, right? The midpoint of your range. So what's the midpoint between of 10 and 12? The midpoint of 10 and 12 is 11, right? So 11 will be there. Between 12 and 14, that will be 13. So there you go. That's my midpoint. And now you have this midpoint column and the frequency column. We're going to use that to find the mean. So if we were to do this manually, same thing. So 4 times 11 plus 8 times 13 plus 5 times 15 plus 3 times 17. That will give me the sum of my data divided by the total number of data, which is 20. So that should get 13.7. Alright, so again, you can use your GDC. So let me pull out my GDC. Okay, so my GDC, I will have to erase my list. So go to your Stat, right, and then add it again. So now we'll have different sets of data. I need to clear it. So bring your cursor up to L1 and then click on Clear. Enter, so everything's gone. Bring your cursor up to L2, clear, enter, everything's gone. Okay? So I'm going to put down my L1 will be 11, my L, and then 13, 15, 17, and my L2 will be the frequency, right? So this is 4, 8, 5, 3. Now I go to my stat, and then I'm gonna go to my calc. Again, one variable stats. My list is my midpoint, which is 11. That's correct. L1. Frequency is L2. That's good. And then calculate. And my mean is the first entry. That's 13.7. Okay. All right. Next one is median. Median. We kind of mentioned about it just now. Median is the number right in the middle of your data, but your data must be organized in order of size. So either from the smallest to the biggest, or the biggest to smallest, doesn't matter. But the very number right in the middle, that's your median. Okay. Let's look at a few examples. So sometimes we can have odd numbers of data or even numbers of data. When it's odd, it's very easy, but when it's even, we need to be more careful. All right. Let's look at a few examples. Now, this n plus 1 over 2, this will give you the median is that n plus 1 over 2th member. Okay. You guys will see how we use that. So here, this is example 8 from the textbook. We have a total of 15 numbers here, 15 samples. We need to find the median. First thing you need is to arrange them from smallest to the biggest, or biggest to smallest, it doesn't matter. But total, we have set 15 here. So the one in the middle would be the 8th term, right? So we're going to use this n plus 1 over 2. We're going to use that by plugging in my n is equal to 15. So 15 plus 1, that's 16 over 2 gives us 8. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This 8th term, is my median. So if my median is here, then I have 7 on the left and 7 on the right, which means my median kind of cuts my data equally in terms of the number of samples on the left and on the right. Okay. However, so this is when we have odd number of terms, right? 15 is an odd number. So the one right in the middle, that's my median. What if I have even numbers? So what I did here is I added a 10. Right? I added a 10 between the 7 and 12. So now instead of 15 samples, I have 16 samples. Okay, so let's try to plug it in my equation, n plus 1 over 2. So 16 plus 1 over 2, I get 8.5, which means my median is between my 8th term and my 9th term. Got that? So 16 plus, I have total of 16 terms, plus 1 gives me 17, divided by 2 gives me 8.5. Then the mean of my 8th and 9th term would be my median. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is my 8th term. This is my 9th term. Then I'm going to find the mean of them. So 19 plus 23 over 2 is equal to 21, and that becomes my median. Okay. All right. So when you have odd number of samples, the median is very straightforward. Align them from smallest to biggest, and the number right in the middle, that will be your median. But when you have even number of samples, you need to do a bit more work. Okay. Again, this n plus 1 over 2, that's gonna help you to find where exactly your median would be. All right. All right. In the next video, I'm gonna show you guys how to find median in cases like this, where you are given a table, a frequency table, and we'll go over that in the next video. Okay. Bye.